And we are live with another episode of the podcast Live with Kaz. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you doing? How are you doing today? I'm feeling amazing. Family, everybody's doing amazing. Thank God. And I hope in your side as well, everybody's doing amazing. Everybody is doing well as well. So this is another episode of the podcast Live with Cause. This is the podcast where we elevate, where we are on our journey to become the better versions of ourselves, to become the better man, to become a more successful man, a man that has a path and a man that wants to leave a legacy. And you that clicked in this channel, you should congratulate yourself because you know that you are in the right path because this is the right channel. Either you're a man, a woman, a teenage, somebody that is just starting in life, that wants guidance, that wants to know what's the right path to do, what's the right thing to do. All right, this is the perfect channel for you, my brother and sister. So, welcome, welcome. If it's the first time that you come into the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and send this message to somebody that you think needs to hear this beautiful message, this beautiful gospel. Yes, and I am your host. My name is Cosmic KOZ, and this is another episode of Live with Cos. You know, as a beginning, I always started by saying this, all right? And I cannot stress this enough. If you have something that you've been putting aside for a long time, if is there something that you have been one to do for a long time and you haven't done it for whatever reason, even if it's like work out, go to the gym or work out, finish a project, start a YouTube channel, finish that degree, whatever that you have been putting aside for whatever reason, get up right now. Yes, right now. Get up. Are you up? Now go. Go and do it. Get dressed, put your headphones out, and go to the gym. Get in front of the computer, start YouTube, and start talking what you want to talk, the message that you want to transmit. Get in front of that book, get in front of that class, and do what you're supposed to do. Enroll again, renewal that enroll, and do it. Today is the day to stop procrastinating. Today is the day that you get up and you do what you need to be done. This is what the channel is about. All right, so just the fact that you are here today, right now, congratulate yourself. You are in the right place, and this is what I want. I want to create a community where people like-minded like me can can come together and they can share their experiences with each other. They can they can share their experiences with each other, and they can build up with each other, and they can support one another and become a huge pack, like a wolf pack. And together we are stronger, divider of course we are weaker. So this is tonight I want to have an important conversation with you. It's a conversation that a lot of people struggle with. This is something that a lot of people struggle with, you know which is organization. Be organized. How to set your priority in life. How to set your priority in life. For you that's saying, yo, cause, like I start my day and then everything start going south, like everything start going all over the place. I am not able to focus. I'm not able to finish one thing, and then as before I finish one thing, I move on to another. My day is so unorganized. By the end of the day, my mental is so exhausted, and my mental is so exhausted, and the productivity is very low. I don't feel like I'm doing my best because I'm so unorganized. So this is the perfect video for you, my brother and sister. This is the perfect video for you. Yeah, so today we're gonna talk about set your priority, how to set your priority, how to be organized, how to make sure that everything is in line, and how to make sure that everything goes smoothly, and plans things ahead so you can have a higher productivity and less mental stress. So let's go dive into it. Let me share my screen with you. Give me just a second. I gotta drink my water. Water is life. Drinking straight from the bottle. I just love to drink water. I drink at least six, sometimes seven, sometimes eight. I try to drink a gallon of water at least 3 to 4 times a week. That's very important to clean up your system. Your kidney will appreciate that. Your livers will appreciate that. Your brain will appreciate that, because when you're dehydrated, the brain suffers a lot. So drink your water. Make sure you stay hydrated. All right, so let me share my screen with you, and let's dive into this article. I like to read every day. I like to learn something new, and this is my journey as well. It's not just your journey, it's my journey to become a better version of myself. So I have to put the work in. It's my job to put the work in, and I'm give you guys the sauce, like everything that I'm learning. At the same time, I'm teaching it to you guys, and of course, at some point we will learn with each other, and we will exchange, we will exchange knowledge, and we will become even more, how can I say, what's the word that I say, more savvy in what we do, and our journey will become way easier in a sense, so the article is a online magazine. The name is Minimalist Made Simple. 10 simple ways to set priorities in life. So the tool for success is there, and it's for free. But people are lazy. They want everything handed to them, you know? You have to do your work. You have to do your work, make your research. You have to read on a daily basis. You have to read on a daily basis. That's important. Everything that you do, you have to read things in the area that you do. If you're a personal trainer, if you're an audio engineer, if you're a singer, if you're a cameraman, if you're a videographer, if you do video clips, if you're a rapper, you have to make your research. You cannot afford to be sitting on your comfort zone and just wait for things happening to you. You gotta make things happen. So today is about setting your priorities in life. All right. I like to research things and give you the right definition, the definition on a book. So let's define priorities. Priority, it's already here. All right. Priority, according to the dictionary, the fact or condition of being regarded or treated as more important. So the definition says everything. Priority is what is more important. What do you give more important, you know so it's important. Why prioritizing things and know your priority and set your priority is important? Because otherwise you will spend a long time doing something, and the most important thing that needs to be done will stay behind, and by the end of the day, oh, when you need that thing, you won't be able to get it because it's not done. And the prioritizing is important because it gives you a schedule, a deadline, you know it puts yourself in the right mindset, like on the grind mode, Okay, this is my priority and I have to do this until certain time. So right there, your mind is on active mode. You're not just going with the wind. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so let's read this article. It's a very, very, very important article. And it says 10 simple ways to set your priorities in life. All right, so let's go right to the meat and potatoes of the article. And let's go to list number one: 10 ways to set priorities in life. Create your list. All right, what is about that? It's the best way, is it is best if it's a physical list on pen and paper, but digital version can be used as well. Either way, having a list to look at is extremely helpful. All right. So here it says like a physical one that you write with pen and paper is better than a digital one. And let me tell you why. When you write something with a pen in a paper, it gets registered in your mind in a different way than when you write it on a digital, on a computer, on an iPad or something. The best way is a scientifical proved. The best way to learn is by writing, taking notes with your pen and your paper. Because when you take a note with pen and your paper, it stays in your mind. It registers in your mind differently. And this is the advice that this article is giving you. All right. So moreover, this list should stay pretty consistent. Of course, our priorities can change over time. However, some priorities will remain the same, such as bills. When our external environments change, our priorities may change as well. With that being said, nothing is set in stone. All right, let me give you an example. For example, you are at work, right? And you already have your list. You already have your list. All right, my list is done, so let me get to this right now. And your manager comes to you, and your manager say, Cosme, this client is requesting something right now. It needs to be done. I need you to focus on that right now. So obviously your priority changed then. you know you gotta focus on what is the most important at the moment. And the most important at the moment is the job that the client needs. So nothing is set in stone. You have to be flexible. You have to, you have to go with the environment. Everywhere you go, everything you do changes the priorities. Like the priority of today is not the same of the priority of tomorrow. And it's not the same the priority of the next week. It's not the same of the priority of the next month. It might be the same, it might be the case that is the same, but most often is not, because we grow. And when we set a priority, that means we finish it. That means we move on to another one. You know what I mean? All right, so let's keep reading this gold mine, this article. All right, so let's go to the second point. The second point: determine necessary over over non-necessary task. We just talked a little bit about it, but let me dive in a little bit more deep. Determine necessary over non-necessary tasks may seem difficult, but it really isn't. Going back to how to prioritize, consider and weigh all the options of the task at hand. All the ways to set priorities will basically revolve around the list you've composed. So basically, it's saying for you to know what is first, you have to go to order. What is the most important task of the day? On the example, the job, the job that the work that the client needed to be done was the most important thing of the day. So that's what you need to prioritize. So you have to make a list. For you to know what's the most important thing of the day, you have to have a list, obviously. Not a mental list, a physical list so you can see it. All right. So when you have your list, Now you can decide, okay, this is more important, this is second important, this can wait a little bit until the end of the day, this can wait until like I have my lunch, but these three things I need to do them before 12 o'clock. You know what I mean? All right, let's keep going with the article. All right, the most urgent and important task should be at the top of that list. Those are the tasks or things you want to achieve first and or very single day. If you still if you still if there's still a task you want to complete and consider a personal priority, yet it is not that urgent, it might be lower on the list. You know what I mean? I just explained this to you. So let's move on. And the third point is don't overwhelm yourself. All right. Let's look for the definition of overwhelm. I know what it means, but I want you guys to have like on the book definition. All right. Overwhelm. On the book definition, and then we can elaborate on that. All right. Overwhelm definition. Alrighty. All right. Overwhelm. All right. Bury or down beneath a huge mess. So basically, overwhelmed is saying like when you have a lot of things to do and you just like feel like you cannot breathe or you feel like so exhausted. You know what I mean? When you are overwhelmed by something, that means that something is consuming you, is leaving you with no energy, is draining you out. All right. So with that definition out of the way, it says don't overwhelm yourself. It is it, it is easy to get overwhelmed, and that's a fact. When you're not organized, everything can throw you out of course. You understand? And like and then you get by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Oh shit! I'm so much behind. How did I get behind like this? You know? Oh, you forgot that you was looking at TikTok every 3 seconds. You forgot that you was, chit chatting with somebody on the phone every 5 minutes. Like by the end of the day, of course you're gonna be behind because you didn't set your priorities straight. You didn't focus in what needed to be done. All right. So it's easy to get overwhelmed. Taking deep breaths and referring to the list will always help. Yeah, don't forget to relax yourself. You're not a robot. You have to breathe. You have to try to relax yourself. Keep calm, keep you cool, one task at a time. All right. In fact, the list should serve as a tool to help you see the outlined priorities and work towards tackling them. The key to keeping this list manageable is, of course, being realistic and honest about the list, but also keeping it simple. Yes, you gotta be realistic. Like you're not gonna make a list of a hundred things to do in 10 minutes, or like things that that it need one thing that that is gonna take an entire day, and then you put like a hundred, 10 more things on top of that. That's overwhelming. If you know that a task is gonna take a long time to do it, take your time and do it. You know, but be realistic about it. All right, and make realistic goals. When you make realistic goals, like you feel more confident about it. It's like it's easy to get let me say $1,000. It's easy when you put it like this. I don't know if it's a good example, but I'm gonna say it anyways. It's easy to say that I'm going to get, for example, $2,000 a week, than say that I'm going to get $200,000 a year. You know what I mean? Like divided in chunks, in small portions. When you divide it in small portions, you can chew it better, you can digest it better, it's gonna feel better. You know what I mean? I don't know if the example was a good example, but I think you see the point, you know? All right. So the list shouldn't be overly long. We just talked about it, so I don't need to elaborate on that. A longer list might imply that you are trying to prioritize too much. Yeah, the reason of prioritizing is that means the most important thing. Every single thing cannot be that important, right? So even everything is important, it has to have one thing that is more important than other. That's what prioritizing comes. Choose what is the most important thing. Don't put everything as a priority, because everything obviously is not. And if everything in your life is a priority, what have you been doing all your life? All right, let's keep going. So with this point, so we're talking, we're talking a little bit about priority, and the first point was create your list. We elaborate on that. Make sure you write everything down, and when you write everything down, make sure that you choose what is more necessary, what is not necessary, and then you tackle them accordingly. And then don't overwhelm yourself. Don't create a super long list, and then by the end of the day you cannot do it and you feel bad with yourself. And then the fourth point is be willing to compromise. We just talked about it earlier. Nothing is set in stone, you know things change. The priority change daily, yearly, like in lives in general, but let's see what that point has to say. Compromise doesn't come easy. Yes, it doesn't come easy. And I am a living proof of that. I hardly like to compromise things. Like, I have such a hard head that sometimes is a good thing, but sometimes is a bad thing. Like, it's good to believe in yourself. It's good to believe that that this is the way, but sometimes it's good to compromise. It's good to listen to another vision. Maybe it can give you something that you don't know. So compromise doesn't come easy. This is particularly true for priorities we hold dear to ourselves and our lives. And remember to be open to the fact that our priorities can change over time. All right? That's self-explanatory, right? So compromising doesn't come easy. And the things that we like, our dreams, the things that we really want to do, those are the things that we need to that we usually tend to prioritize. But sometimes those are not the best things to prioritize at the moment. So you have to be willing to think logically, not by the emotion. All right, because the emotion is good, it drives you, but the logic guides you. You understand what I'm saying? All right. With that being said, let's move on to the next article. It says access your most productive days of the week. Oh, that's a very important one. Yes, access your most productive days of the week. You know your schedule. You know the days that you feel that you just want to chill. Usually it's just like the weekends, but the days that you want to be on your grind, that you want to be productive. So every day of the week serves a purpose to us. All of our schedules are different, so each day means something a little different to everyone. With that said, a great way to set priority is to utilize the days of the week where we know we'll have the most energy. Days off from home are often the go to days for most people. While this is not a bad idea, it can be harmful. Spending all of your days off doing our priorities can be overwhelming. And that's a great point, because, like, imagine you work the entire week, right? And in the weekends is your weekend off, but you still working, you still putting your grind. Yes, that can be overwhelming, because You need to give yourself space. Yesterday, I was listening to something that was very helpful for me, and I'm going to share this with you. I was listening to this guy talking. Shout out to him. His name is Dr. BOA. I listen to him often. He have some good points that I like to listen and consider. So shout out to you, brother. He said that you need to give yourself space. Like when you're moving from one activity to the other, you need to allow yourself to tap in and relax. And you have to protect that man or that woman, that relaxed woman. The businessman that you are is a savvy, He wants to go and conquer. You know, the person that you are in the street is always on the lookout. You know, it's never like at easy. So that person that is relaxing, that relaxing side of you, you need to protect that at all costs. That's the creative part. That's the dreamer. That's the one that it's like put everything together. That's the little piece of God inside of you. So you have to protect that side of you at all costs. You understand what I'm saying? So don't it's important for you to be on your grind. Listen to what I'm saying, but don't overwhelm yourself. Give yourself some space to breathe. Give yourself some space to you know to to create that energy, to evolve that energy. Every time that you are coming uh from the gym, for example, you're going from work to the gym, right? In between work to the gym, take that moment for yourself. Don't talk to nobody. Just like, listen to some relaxing music, or read something that you enjoy, or just be with yourself, talking to yourself and analyzing and dreaming and stuff like that. That's important. All right. Where did I stop? All right. Finding a day that works best for us to try and tackle as much of our list as possible is the best approach. I agree with that 100%. And it this that statement lead us to the sixth point: tackle the hardest task first. Let's elaborate on that. When deciding how to make a list or figure out where to start on priorities, tackle the hardest task first. It's always best. Usually, this task will be something that takes an extended period of time to complete. Hmm. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Started from the hardest, but like, what if one thing though? What if the hardest is not the priority? You know what I mean? But I guess it's saying on the priorities that we have, find the ones that is the hardest. All right. Yes, that's what it's definitely saying. So on the priorities that we have already written down on a list, choose which one is the hardest and tackle that. All right. Because in the beginning of the day, you have more energy. In the beginning of the day, you fresh, you have that drive. And like, if you leave it to be in the end of the day or whatever, you're gonna be like already exhausted, and it's gonna be even harder because the task itself is a hard one, if it makes sense. Getting started on this task first will not only be a relief but help in addressing the rest of the task at hand. All of the easier tasks will be short-lived and get completed without much thought behind them. This is because those priorities are ones we know can go without fault. The things Think of things like laundry, for example, or even other household chores. Those might be priorities for us, and they aren't as complicated as some of the other things that might arise on the list. All right, so I think that is self-explanatory. We don't have to elaborate on that. Let's go to the next one. And the next one is plan ahead. A very, 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 very important point. Planning ahead. And without planning, I don't think you will be able to prioritize anything because you are all over the place. You don't know where you're going. So let's elaborate on this one. When starting up, when starting to plan ahead, this doesn't have to be an extremely early list. In fact, the best way to approach this tip is to end each day by focus on what may be on the next day's list. That sounds very reasonable to me. Like you finish your day, right? But before the day is finished, you start like planning the other day ahead. So when you wake up the other day ahead, you already know what you going to do. Yeah, that's plan. And that's like a daily plan. But you can do like a weekly plan like that. When one week is finishing, you can plan the other week. When one month is finishing, you can plan the other month. You know, like priorities can be daily, they can be weekly, they can be monthly, and they can be yearly, and they can be over a lifetime. So everything has to be like planned ahead, and so you don't feel like you are going with the wind, so you can have a sense of direction. And this will help with the overwhelming part as well, because when you don't know where you're going, I'm sure you're going to be overwhelmed at all time, and anything that comes your way will phase you, and it will take you out of your focus. So let's keep going with the article, let's keep reading it. The eighth point is recognize prioritizing will become a skill set. Yes, prioritizing is a skill set indeed, because it's like everything in life, the more you do it, the better you get at it. But let's elaborate on this. Prioritizing is not something that everyone is born with. In fact, it takes anyone some time to perfect the ability to keep priorities aligned. This ability eventually become a skill set. Yes, like the more it, just like I said, like when we are born with no knowledge. Everything that we acquire with our life experience, and by the experience that we go through in life, and the things that we study, and the things that we look for to learn. And skill set is one of those things. The more you do it, the more experienced you're gonna be, the better at it you're gonna become. All right. So having the skill set will bring future success in your overall happiness and preparedness for yourself and your family. Being able to recognize the value of this skill set will not only motivate you to keep tackling your list every day, but also recognize your potential for the future. Yes, that's a very important point. So, this is the whole point we're talking about prioritizing, because it's a very skill set that will help you in every aspect of your life. Will help you in your relationship, will help you in business, will help you with school, will help you in your life itself, help you in your workout, in your diet, and everything. When you know where your priority lies, like you are undefeated, man and women. When you know where your priority lies, you know where are you going, you know what you're supposed to be do. And do you know how many people that have no idea what they supposed to be do? Yes, you would be amazed. So congratulate yourself for being in this channel. And I want you guys to write down, like, if this, like, in the comment section, let me know if this article is helpful, if this video is helpful, and let me know how prioritizing things change your life, because I would be very interesting in, and you guys sharing this experience, and maybe it might motivate other people to do it as well. And let's keep going. Create a timeline. Yes, that's very important. That is self-explanatory. Create that timeline means you have to have a deadline. All right. So you have a list of priorities. You choose what is the most important. So the next step is this. This thing is gonna take me 3 hours to do it. So I have to have this done in 3 hours. Everything that you do in that 3 hour have to go have to be about that specific task. You don't do anything else. Like you leave that task for that 3 hours. If you know what I mean. Yes, prioritizing is the most important thing at the moment. So you have to do it, and you have to have a time frame. Like, okay, I have this project. I'm able to finish it in 1 week. All right, so that week you have to make sure that everything you do is to lead you to that deadline of 1 week. When that 1 week is finished, the project should be ready. And this is where being realistic comes at hand as well, because you have to set realistic deadlines. It's like, I'm gonna start making $100,000 in 1 month. I don't think that's realistic if you don't have a, like, let me put this scenario. You are a person that don't even have a job, right? You know, like, if I want to start making $100,000 in 1 month, like, next month I'm gonna make $100,000. I don't think that's very realistic, man. I think you're setting yourself up for uh, a heartbreaking and self-esteem breaking, and setting yourself for failure eventually. Everything has to be with realistic. All right. So this is what this saying. Create a timeline, and when you create the timeline, you know you make sure that you put the necessary effort so you can make that happen. But let's see what the article has to say. Priorities require a timeline. Referring back to the ways to prioritize, this includes being realistic. We just said that setting too many priorities at once that may overlap. Setting too many priorities at once that may overlap is unrealistic. It is important to build a timeline for certain priorities, especially long term ones like payments of bills. Building a timeline or structuring those priorities helps to relieve stress or feeling pressured to get them complete. Yes, that's what I said. Give yourself a reasonable timeline and make sure that is a realistic one. Not like, oh, it's a project that can take 3 days or 4 days or 5 days. I can do that in like a half a day. Oh man, you're gonna be so stressed out that you don't even know what hit you. Yeah, you gotta be realistic about stuff, all right? And before we do the last point, I wanna recapitulate. So we are talking about how to set priorities in life, in whatever that you are doing in life. All right. So the first point is create a list. The second point, we talk about determine necessary over non-necessary tasks. The third point, we talk about don't overwhelm yourself. And on the fourth point, we talk about being willing to compromise. On the fifth point, where are you? On the fifth point, we talk about asset assess your most productive days of the week. On the sixth point, we said we talked about tackle the hardest task first. On the seventh point, we talked about plan ahead. On the eighth point, we talk about recognizing, prioritizing. Recognize prioritizing will become a skill set. On the ninth point, create a timeline. And the 10th point, the last but not the least, limiting any distraction. We kind of elaborated a little bit earlier. Like you get distracted every like 3 seconds with TikTok, every like 5 minutes with Facebook, Instagram. Uh, like everybody that comes your way, you give them time of your day. You end up getting distracted, and then by the end of the day, nothing gets done. Mm, I just love drinking water. All right, but let's elaborate on this one. Distractions are just that, distractions. All right, but let me give you on the book definition. It will make it stick more in our mind. Distraction, a thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. That's distraction, like raw and uncut. So, like if you have a priority and you're being distracted, you are not giving attention to your priority because the distraction is taking the attention from the priority. So it's important to stay focused. Focus. Focus. Yes, focus. Okay? Focus on what you have to do. Leave the world in the side for at least that period of moment, and then when you're on your break, you come back and you talk to friends or Instagram, or decompress with TikTok, whatever works for you. All right. Distractions are just that, distractions. When we have our eyes set in priority, we need to accomplish that we need to accomplish. Sometimes distraction can start stand in our way, stand in the way, which is very, very true. Limiting the distraction we have limiting the distractions we have will help us tackle any priorities we have set for ourselves. Focus is critical in reaching our priority goals. All right, guys, we just like kind of elaborate on it, so I don't have to talk about it anymore. So this is it. We just learned some important tool that can help us in our daily success, our weekly success, our monthly success, our yearly success, and our lifetime success. What you gonna do with a tool like this? You just gonna let it sit there, or you gonna put it in practice, and start doing what you're supposed to? All right. This is articles from people that do research. This is like scientifical proof stuff. All right. It's not coming out of nowhere. I'm not the one making this stuff up. Okay. So what we gotta do, we gotta absorb it like a sponge, and then let it sink in, and then start doing acting accordingly. This is what I expect from me. This is I expect from you that is in this channel. If you're not ready to put this work, if you are not ready to put the work in, this is not the channel for you. Get out of here. Get out of here. We don't need your kind here. We only need people that are ready to be accountable and they are ready to put the work in. All right? How to set your priorities in life. I just gave it to you loud and clear and in 4K. All right? This is your boy Kaz. If you are coming to the podcast for the first time, like and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, you know, send something for the Cash App to help grow the channel. But the like and the subscribe are for free. I much appreciate that. Leave a comment at the end. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know how this video helped you, and I would be appreciate that as well. So without further ado, without anything else to share with you guys tonight, tomorrow I will come back with more knowledge, with more of this podcast.